Mr. Hunter, My God, the wages have been nicked.
There must have been £30,000 in that safe. I was going to get me room scanned tomorrow.
Police, please. Yes, I'd like to report a robbery. Yes. And a murder.
Good evening. Tonight's question is, who robbed the safe? And I hope to goodness we solve it before the workers discover that their wages have gone, or all hell will break loose. Now, you can rule out Miss Penny Cooper, because she's the dead body. Later on, all the suspects will be questioned by our panel, and this week we have our two regular safecrackers, Lisa Fingers Goddard. And, of course, Patrick the Jelly Man Mower. Magpies are renowned thieves, so it should be easy for Jenny Hanley. But every crime needs a mastermind, which has nothing at all to do with Rodney Bewes. Incidentally, I've had several letters about last week's show pointing out that the time in Monte Carlo is 1 hour different from Britain. You're right. But I did say during the show that the time of the story was early March, when Monte Carlo has the same time as us. So you're wrong. All right, then, this week, it's robbery and very grievous bodily harm. Now, don't forget that the guilty party is allowed to lie, so don't believe everything that you see or hear. Detective Inspector Palmer and Sergeant Watson, no relation to Sherlock Holmes, have already started their inquiries. So let's see what they make of it.
Mr. Hunter, how did you come to have so much money in the safe?
Well, Thursday's payday for the workforce. The money's collected from the bank at 3 p.m, then distributed tomorrow.
Regular routine?
Oh, yes.
So anyone could have known about it?
Yes.
Insured, are you?
Yes, but that doesn't matter. What about my PA, Penny Cooper? Somebody strangled her, in case you hadn't noticed.
All in good time. Mr. Brennan, you was in your office with your secretary.
PA?
With your PA, Miss Phyllis Collier, right? Did either of you hear a scream?
No.
No, I was in the loo, and that's much too far away.
Oh, Mr. Mason?
No, I was in my office. That's even further.
Strange, isn't it? I mean, I would have expected her to make some sort of noise. Miss Collier, your desk is out there with Miss Cooper's, isn't it?
Yes, but I
So
felt...
that anyone from outside couldn't get inside without being seen, right? Which points to an inside job. Could one person have carried the money out of here?
I doubt it. That amount of money.
Yeah, I doubt it too. Excuse me. Now, I reckon that he or she dropped the money out of the window to an accomplice in a car. Unless... Sergeant, take a quick look round. Don't touch the safe. You don't mind, do you?
Not at all.
Good. Now, whom was the last person to see Miss Cooper alive? Yes?
Well, I may have been. I came out of my office a few minutes before 5. Penny, have you finished that letter to the Leeds warehouse yet?
Yes, it's ready for you to sign.
Oh, fine. I'll read it when I get back. You going up early or something?
Yes, I said I'd meet somebody if that's all right.
Yes. I'll sign it and post it myself.
Where are you off to, then?
The throne room. See you tomorrow. Mind you, I was in there for 10 minutes, so I may not have been the last one to see her.
No, I rather think the murderer was. No one saw you in the loo, I suppose.
I'm afraid not, Inspector. I insist on absolute privacy.
Sergeant, what are you doing?
Just checking the cupboard for false floorboards, Chief. The money's not there.
Yeah, well, keep looking. Now, the scarf that was round the victim's neck, was it hers?
I think I can help you there.
Yes.
Something I overheard in my office earlier this afternoon. Yes?
Mr. Brennan, there's a gentleman on the line.
Just a moment, Phyllis. I'll be right with you.
Would you hold on a moment, please, sir?
All I said was it was a pretty neck scarf.
And I thought you'd have had enough things of mine already.
I only wondered where you bought it.
Oh, here, look for yourself.
Phyllis, now what did you want?
Oh, this is Mr. Harrison on the line for you.
Oh, okay, I'll take it. Ah, Mr. Harrison. Well, those specifications seem to be fine by me. I'm not trying to tell tales or anything. It's just something I overheard unintentionally.
Miss Collier?
All right, so it was my scarf.
Why didn't you say so in the first place?
I didn't want to go around saying I own the scarf that killed her. I was scared. Besides, you're not quite as honest as you make out to be. I happened to overhear your little business conversation with Mr. Harrison. I have Mr. Harrison on line 1 for you.
Okay, I'll take it.
You're through now, Mr. Harrison.
All right, Mr. Brennan, your time is up.
But I haven't had enough.
It's over $2,000 you owe us, and unless you deliver by lunchtime tomorrow, something very nasty's going to happen.
Look, I'll do what I can. And whatever I can get together, I'll bring round.
Bring it all.
Oh, I could do with a drink.
Is Mr. Hunter in?
Yes, but he's busy.
He'll
at the
see me.
moment.
And that, Mr. Roger Brennan, is what I happened to overhear unintentionally.
Well, Mr. Roger Brennan.
All right, I'm heavily into debt from gambling. What's that got to do with murder?
It's just that the money in that safe was the quickest way for you to settle your account with Mr. Harrison. Wasn't it?
Welcome back to WHODUNNIT, where most of us are sympathising with Mr. Neville Hunter, who has lost £30,000 and his PA in the space of a few minutes. Now, so far we know that Penny Cooper is dead, with Phyllis's scarf round her neck. Roger Brennan has been backing the wrong horses. Derek Mason, the sales manager, hasn't sold anything so far. Neville Hunter was stuck in the loo, and Detective Inspector Palmer is rapidly getting nowhere.
I presume that Mr. Brennan did come in and see you. Mr. Hunter?
Yes, he wanted a loan or an immediate wage rise. I turned him down.
Quite right, too. Let's get back to the safe, shall we? What are you doing now, Sergeant?
Oh, I'm just keeping up the search like you said, Chief. Well, have you got the key to this bottom drawer, Mr. Hunter?
Oh, yes, of course. Here they are. It's this one.
Here, is the key to the safe on there?
Yes?
Does anyone else have a key?
Oh, only the security man, Stevens. He's at the front gate now.
Ah, pure malt.
Yeah, it's written on the bottle.
Oh, well, I didn't look, Chief.
Oh, all right, you've proved you're a lush. Now put it back. And go and get that Stevens. Bring him up here, will you?
But, why do you want to see Stevens?
What? You have a key. He has a key. Nobody else has a key. That safe wasn't broken into. It was unlocked. Miss Collier, according to Mr. Brennan, you was on bad terms with Miss Cooper. Is that right?
Well, if you must know, I had an idea that she was going out with my Derek.
She's referring to me, Inspector. You see, Phyllis and I have been seeing quite a lot of each other this last year.
Oh, well, that's no affair of mine, is it? But the point is, did you see Miss Cooper alive today?
Well, only briefly, about 10 to 5. Yes, it was then, because I remember checking my watch.
No, don't worry, Mrs. Hunter. I'll tell him as soon as he comes out of his meeting. Yes. 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 Well, only a couple of minutes, I should think. Well, if you like, I'll take down a message and I'll make sure he gets it. Yes. Yes, right. Yes. Yes. Uh-huh.
And I must have been back in my office a couple of moments later. Well, as a matter of fact, I can prove that because Stevens of Security was waiting for me about a theft one of my reps had.
Yes, for about how long was that?
Oh, not very long. About 5 o'clock. He had something else to attend to, so he left, and I waited in my office until they told me about this.
Right, fine. Oh, yes, that piece of paper what you wrote the note to Penny on. Where did you put it?
Well, I don't know. In my office, perhaps? Well, it wasn't important. I mean, all I said was, tell Neville after 5. Well, of course, I didn't see him because, well, this happened first.
A likely story. Let me tell you, if you had anything to do with Penny's problem, I will never speak to you again.
Penny's problem? Shift up. Miss Collier, what exactly was Penny's problem?
Well, earlier on in the afternoon, before Harrison rang, Penny and I had a slight argument.
Phyllis, have you got any spare carbon paper?
Don't you get enough? I was referring to men. Not content with having it away with Mr. Happily Married Neville Hunter, you're pinching my man as well.
There's no need to shout. And stop accusing me of something you can't prove. I've got enough problems of my own.
Oh, such as, Miss Bedjumper.
I'm pregnant. My doctor checked twice, but it's positive.
So what's the big problem about that nowadays? Has anybody told you about
I'm going to have the baby.
Oh, a real mother-to-be. And what about the father? Does he know all this?
Yes, I told him 2 days ago, but he doesn't believe me. But it's his, and I'm going to have it whether he likes it or not.
Oh, anyone I know?
Try not to overwork your imagination, Phyllis. Your leader is calling.
And try as I might, she wouldn't tell me any more than that.
Oh. Oh, pity. Yeah, mind you, it may not have anything at all to do with this.
Chief.
Yes?
Chief.
Yes.
Stevens of Security.
Oh, I'm sorry to trouble you, Mr. Stevens. Would you mind waiting in there for a moment?
Certainly. Chief, I'd just like to make a phone call.
Police business?
Yes, sir, I think so.
All right. Unfortunately for you, Mr. Mason, someone left a carbon underneath that piece of paper that you wrote that note on to Penny. This is your handwriting, isn't it?
Yes.
Apparently what you actually wrote was, meet me in the Dragon Lounge after work, darling.
So, I was right all along.
Now, look, there's no need to make a mountain
Don't you come near me, you men. You're all the same.
I understand, Mr. Stevens, that you have the only other key to the safe. Is that true?
Yeah, that's right.
Now, about 5 o'clock, you was called to Mr. Mason in his office, right?
Yeah, correct. Something about a petty theft.
When you left, was Mr. Mason still in there?
Oh, yes, I had some other duties to attend to, so I went back to my office at the back of the factory.
Yeah, right. Ah, well, how long have you been with the firm?
Oh, a few months.
He came with the highest references.
Oh, good.
Excuse me, sir. I think I've got it.
You've got what?
Well, I thought I'd seen Mr. Stevens before, so I made a check with records. Now, Mr. Stevens is really Ernie Hewitt. Armed robbery, GBH, you name it. You went down for that Enfield job a few years back. Now, I was on the case at the time and something stirred in the back of my memory.
So, I'm Ernie Hewitt. Doesn't mean I nicked their wages, does it?
No, you dropped the bank bags out of the window to a mate of yours. Now, it was probably Frank Tyler. Now, he drove away in a car, licence number... Yeah, well, I've got it here somewhere anyway. And it was spotted leaving out the back gate.
All right, so it didn't work.
But what about those references?
I forged, I'm afraid, sir. Now, Ernie's got some very talented friends. Murder now, eh, Ernie? Sounds like a long stretch on the moor.
I had nothing to do with that girl. Nothing at all. She was dead when I got in here. If you think you can pin that on me, you can stick it.
Oh, trying to wriggle out of it now, are we, Ernie? Look, I'll tell you exactly what happened. The girl surprised... My God. He's done himself in, Chief.
No, he hasn't. Yes, he has. That's strychnine. What? Yeah, I should have noticed this before.
What do you mean?
I mean that she wasn't strangled. She was poisoned. It was only made to look like strangulation.
Well, what about Hewitt?
He was right about one thing. She was dead when he come in here. Some person, or persons, heard Hewitt coming and hid in the cupboard, and in the panic it was forgotten.
What did they forget?
The glass! It wasn't supposed to be there, and I should have seen it!
Oh, never mind, eh, Chief? At least we know that Hewitt took the money. You know, I even bluffed him into thinking I got the licence number. You can't beat that, can you?
The beat, ex-Sergeant Cleverchops Watson, is exactly where you're going to end up. Now then, who is going to put this scarf round that victim's neck?
What a shame. Just when you thought you'd worked it all out, the main suspect drops dead. Never mind, perhaps the panel's questions will put you back on the track. Right, panel. Is there any part of the action that you'd like to see an instant replay of to help you solve the puzzle? Patrick, what would you like to see again?
Yes, I'd like to see the bit, I think, where, what's his name, Neville Hunter, where he comes out of the office and he, when he's recounting his story, the bit when he's outside the office door.
Right.
Not the bit, I don't want to see him go into the loo.
No. Yes, that's very understandable. Thank you, Patrick, for your delicacy. Yes. Jenny.
We haven't got an extra half hour, have we?
Not tonight.
No. All right. I'd like to see when Derek Mason writes the note beside poor old Penny's typewriter.
You shall. Lisa?
Yes, I'd like to see the bit, please, where Ernie Hewitt kicked the bucket in such a wonderful way.
You always like to see the gory bits, don't you? Rodney, what would you like to see again?
Well, I've got to be honest. I'd like to see my family again, right? I've been abroad for 7 weeks in Singapore making a film. I've come back to London for 2 weeks. The family have got mumps, and I've never had mumps. So I can't go home. So that's what I'd like to see again.
Well, apart from
seriously, though, folks, the bit I'd like to see again was the very beginning, when we first saw the first body, because it was a wonderful scream.
Naturally, you'd like to see that again.
Thank you.
Wonderful scream for Rodney Bewes. Good. Well, while we're finding those clips, let's have one question from each of you. Patrick.
Phyllis Collier, I'm very interested in your sex life. Can you tell me, you look a rather sort of raunchy lady, can you tell me who is having an affair with who or whom in this office? You're at the moment having an affair with Derek Mason.
That's right, yes.
And you're not having an affair at the moment with Roger.
No.
Have you? Did that mean that you have and you didn't like it?
Well, there was a time when our hands touched briefly over the filing cabinet, but it never came to much.
What about the rather attractive man on your right? Did your hands ever touch his over there?
Well, I did know Mr. Hunter some years ago, but I'd prefer not to discuss that if you don't mind.
Can I ask just a little, dig a bit further, how well did you know him?
fairly well.
Yes, fairly well.
We were very good friends.
Very good.
You've delved deeply there, Patrick, yes. Shall we move on now, before you
Yes.
delve too deep? Yes.
Thank you.
Jenny.
Well, I'm a little bit worried about Mr. Hunter spending 10 minutes in his own privacy, or privy, perhaps one. No, actually, I won't ask you why it takes 10 minutes. I shall ignore all that, and I shall say, is there a key? I mean, is it a director's private place?
That is a particularly director's private place. I have my own, but the builders are working on that, so we have to share this particular privy.
What a shame.
Yes, it does. It creates certain problems when the pressure is high.
I do think you could have put that better, sir. Thank you very much. Yes.
I meant in the
Yes,
business
indeed, we
pressure.
know exactly what you meant. Thank you very much. Thank you. Let us pass from that. But no, that's badly phrased too. All right, Lisa, have you a question?
Yes, I've got a couple for the inspector. Inspector, are you feeling little Uncle Dick or anything? Because you keep putting your hanky to your mouth. I keep wondering if you know.
When in a state of nerves, I have an excess of saliva. Also, I'm inclined to sweat when under pressure. So I have to have various handkerchiefs. As you will observe, I have with me, if not two, certainly three. I think. One?
Yes.
Yes, well,
Thank you very much indeed. We don't want to pass the germs around, I don't think. Thank you very much indeed. Yes, a very nervous detective inspector, I will establish. Yes, Rodney.
I'll ask Mr. Hunter a question now, because you've asked the inspector a question. What kind of, what product does your factory make?
Well, exquisite furniture for offices.
Really?
Beautiful stuff.
You couldn't do a discount on a dining room table, can you?
For you, after the show, we could come to an arrangement.
We need a big one, because I've got a lot of children, but...
Yes, well, we manufacture anything, according to what you want.
Thank you very much.
All things
This is not a show, I may say.
Oh,
This
I'm
is
sorry,
a serious investigation.
I beg your pardon.
Yes, Patrick. Oh, there we are for the buzzer for the first clip. And the first clip is for none other than Rodney Bewes. Rodney, you wanted to see the start of the story when Roger Brennan discovers Penny's body behind the desk, accompanied, of course, by Phyllis's farewell scream. Watch the screen, please.
Your room's done tomorrow.
Police, please. Yes, I'd like to report a robbery. Yes. And a murder.
Yes, Rodney. Did you
Well,
enjoy
it all falls into place, doesn't it? I mean, that's all you need to see, really, isn't it? Just that first bit.
So, would you like to open up any questioning here?
Yes, I'd like to ask a question. I'd like to ask the inspector a question. I'd like to ask you, how many cases of poison have you dealt with?
Oh, there was none.
Really? Do you think it would be a good idea to hand over to the sergeant, then?
No, I've been properly trained in my work. I've done a complete background on poisons, offensive weapons, judo, karate, you name it, I've done it.
And cases of killing with a handkerchief?
Absolutely. What?
Yes.
Thank you, Rodney. Yes, Lisa.
Yes, I wanted to ask Mr. Brennan a few questions. Who is Mr. Harrison and what?
But he's my bookie.
He's your bookie?
He's my bookie, yes. I have an account with him.
Oh, I see. He's not black. He's not a blackmailer or anything.
Oh, no, not at all.
No. I just want to ask you, you weren't in cahoots with poor old Stevens, were you? And,
Goodness me, no.
stealing the thing?
Not at all. Absolutely not.
Yes, Patrick.
Yes, Roger Brennan. Quickly, you find it very easy to overhear these conversations. Did you overhear anyone? Do you know who was responsible for the pregnancy? May I ask you?
Well, I could hazard a guess, but I don't think...
No, you don't know. You also overheard that the young lady there, Phyllis, was lending the scarf to the other girl, didn't you?
Yes, indeed.
Yes. You also overheard something else very important, which I won't mention at the moment. Yes.
What?
Well, you happened to hear that, what's the dead girl say, that she was rather thirsty. Didn't you?
Yes, indeed, that's right. Yes, just as I was going into Mr. Hunter's office.
Well observed.
Absolutely.
Yes. Thank you very much indeed. Yes, Jimmy. Oh, we're ready for the next clip. The next clip is for Patrick. Patrick, you asked for Neville Hunter's flashback,
when he came out of his office and spoke to Penny before he disappeared into the throne room. Watch the screen, please.
Penny, have you finished that letter to the Leeds warehouse yet?
Yes, it's ready for you to sign.
Oh, fine. I'll read it when I get back. You going up early or something?
Yes, I said I'd meet somebody if that's all right.
Yes. I'll sign it and post it myself.
How's that?
I really want to see a little bit further. In fact, Phyllis, you, after that, you went into the office, didn't you?
I'd already gone into the office.
You'd gone into the office, I missed it, yes. Can I just ask you, Mr. Roger Brennan said that around about the time of the murder, about 5 to 5 past 5 is when the murder took place, when the gentleman was in the loo. He said he was in you were in his office. Is that correct?
Yes.
You were there all the time?
Yes, I took some samples for specifications in.
And did he leave the office while you were with him? Well, did you come out?
No, I was already out, and he came out. He left the office, and then he went back again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you.
Sheriff Buse, have you anything to say?
I was writing. I was busy. You gave me a heart attack then.
Oh, Sheriff, you've got to speak up.
Yes, I'd like to ask Mr. Brennan a question. In view of your gambling habits,
Yes.
have you got any tips for the derby?
Well, I haven't got my sporting life with me, but... Oh, yes, the Italian horse, that's right. Leonardo da Vinci. There you go.
Well, thank you. I'll remember not to back that one.
Yes, Jenny.
Can I ask Phyllis a question? Phyllis, that scarf that you, well, not very kindly, but sort of reticently lent Penny, doesn't go with your outfit at all. What were you doing with it that day?
Well, I just bought it on my way into work. Actually, I didn't really want it. And as soon, you know, I mean, if she wanted the scarf, she could have it, because her taste was so bad, dear. If she wanted it, she could keep it, as far as I was concerned.
Her, or did you have a great deal of animosity?
She was, well, well, she did irritate me at times. Yeah.
Irritate.
Yes,
Right.
Lisa.
Oh, yes, Mr. Mason. You said that the Mr. Stevens left you at 5,
Yeah.
didn't you? Is that right?
Yes, he did indeed, yes.
Yes, it's a pity he died, isn't it? Because he can't verify your...
No, he can't. No, it's very sad, but I mean, I continued to work. I had quite a lot to do.
And then you say that you stayed in your office?
I stayed in my office. I had
waiting.
quite a lot.
What were you waiting for? You said you were waiting in your office.
Well, I phrased it that way simply because I was occupied with various jobs which I had to do. I mean, I had, in fact, sustained one small theft, which we had gone into, and then as he left, I had quite a number of things to attend to.
Yes, another thing, well, you were going to meet Penny after work.
That's
Is that why she said she had to leave early, or she was going to go meet you?
Well, we were planning that, yeah.
Ask him if he wrote that thing on the thing.
Oh, did you? Yes, did you?
Oh, I'm glad that kid asked me if you wrote that thing on the thing. That's a beautifully phrased question. Did you put that thing on the thing? Don't answer it, anybody. Right, that's a buzzer. And that means that we're ready for the third clip. And this is yours, Jenny Hanley. You wanted to see part of Derek Mason's flashback when he writes a note to Penny. And the moral of this is never lie about what you write in case there's a carbon underneath. Watch, please.
Yes. Well, only a couple of minutes, I should think. Well, if you like, I'll take down a message and I'll make sure he gets it. Yes. Yes, right. Yes. Yes. Uh-huh.
Yes, Jenny.
I will now ask the question that Sarah wants to ask.
Yes, good, fine.
I'm glad you thought of that. I didn't notice that. What was
Surprised
the
you were able to
message?
translate
No.
it.
Did you write the note that the police inspector read out, which was, meet you in the Dragon Lounge after work, darling, which is a bit incriminating.
Do I have to answer
Yes,
that?
please.
With Phyllis?
Yes, I'm sorry, but she won't attack you because there are 2 policemen behind.
Yes, I did write that, yes.
Who did you write it to? Who's asking these questions here? That sounds like a double
Ready?
act. Yeah, right.
Who did you really mean? No, who did you really mean it to be given to? Because you actually began to say, Phil, I've written so many things down here that I can't read them.
I think it was your question is,
Yes.
who were you asking, who were you sending this message to, right?
But no, because he did one of your things. I mean, he said, will you give this to Mr. Hunter?
Yes.
Please.
Well, you see, in the back of my mind always is Phyllis, who is sitting here, and I'm so occupied with her and preoccupied by her that I nearly said...
Well, fixing a date with another woman?
Oh, yes, it happens.
Well,
you
it
know.
does.
Yes,
Yes,
it does. You're quite
indeed.
right, sir. It
Sadly,
does
it
happen.
does. I think she'll...
I am truly shocked.
Lisa.
Yes, Phyllis. Penny said she could do with a drink. Did she drink a lot? I mean, was this quite a sort of habitual thing, was it?
Well, I should think, for what I knew of, I think she did most things to excess anyway. Really.
Was she... Trevor...
Ah, there we go. Sorry. That is the buzzer for the last clip, which is yours, Lisa. You wanted to see the death of Stevens, alias Ernie Hewitt, so sit back and relax, because if I remember rightly, he takes a very long time to die.
If you think you can pin that on me, you can stick it.
Oh, trying to wriggle out of it now, are we, Annie? Look, I'll tell you exactly what happened. The girl surprised...
Oh, beautifully died, wasn't it? Beautifully died, yes. Yes, go on, Lisa.
Yes, oh gosh, I've got so many things I want to ask.
Just ask one.
All right, Sergeant, was the whiskey in the bottle all right? Did you taste it? Is that what you
No, I
meant?
didn't taste it. I smelt it. It smelt fine. Yeah, it was perfect. Yeah.
It was?
It smelled like malt whiskey, you know.
Yes. Well, I suppose you wouldn't be able to smell strychnine, would you? Also, did you... Sorry?
Almonds.
Does it smell of almonds?
I believe so.
Oh.
No, it doesn't smell of almonds.
Oh, it doesn't smell.
No, I think that is cyanide of potassium. Yes, Patrick.
Yeah, can I just, Detective Inspector Palmer,
Yes, sir.
as a person involved in the police work myself,
I understand.
would you agree with me that if somebody is going to drink strychnine, that they would have to actually drink it? I mean, you can't sort of force it down someone's throat, can you?
No, well, it comes in two forms, in fact. You have a dry form, which is usually, for medicinal purposes, certainly, that's 5%.
Yeah,
and in liquid form, you have 1.5%.
Yeah. Can we assume that the dead person was killed by the strychnine from the glass?
Indeed, you can.
Yes.
Thank you very much indeed. Yes, Lisa.
Yes, Mr. Hunter, do you drink quite a lot of scotch? I mean, you have it locked away in your desk drawer. For instance, do you drink with Miss Thing in the evenings?
I drink with whoever I can. I rather like scotch, yes.
But, I mean, you were having a relationship, weren't you, with Penny?
I have to confess that we knew each other rather well.
Yes, you did. And tell me, you seemed very, very nervous when the sergeant was searching about the room.
Yes, he was making such a noise. I was trying to talk.
Yes.
It was rather complicated at the time, and I didn't like that.
Bing-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling. I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to stop you there. Now, panel, you should know the drill by now. I want you to write down whodunit and any clues you imagined you saw. And for you at home, one last chance to have a look at a clue. Now, to be honest, this is only half of the clue, but if you spot the right thing, you'll automatically get the other half.
Oh, I could do with a drink.
Is Mr. Hunter in?
Yes, but he's busy.
He'll see me.
You see what I mean? Well, never mind. Let's find out what the panel thinks, shall we? Cards, please, Rodney. Thank you. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Jenny. Come on, son. Let's have it. Come on, be bold. You losing confidence?
See what's on the back.
What's on the back? A guess. Go on. Oh, doom, doom, doom. All right. Good. I have the cards. They can't change their minds. So let's start with you, Patrick. Who done it and how?
Well, I must admit I was in a dilemma because I've got two people could have done it, Derek Mason or Roger Brennan. But I've decided to go for Roger Brennan after all because what I noticed before about the fact that he knew that she wanted a drink, she must have, when she drank the drink, she must have done it willingly. So he knew she was thirsty. He also knew about the scarf, so he tried to put the thing onto Phyllis. And that's about all, really.
Right.
I think Derek Mason might have done it as well.
Thank you very much indeed. But in the main, you're saying it was Roger Brennan.
Yes, Roger.
Yes, Jenny, who do you think
Who
done
have
it?
you left out? I think it was Neville Hunter. I think he was the father of Penny's unborn baby. I think, well, he may not have been confused about the scarf and the typewriter cover, but I was with what he said. And I think it wasn't the whiskey that was poisoned, it was the soda. I think that when he tried to break the news to her that he wasn't going to marry her and so, awfully sorry, have a whiskey, and ladies normally have soda in whiskey.
It's a load of rubbish, isn't it?
No. Sounds highly intelligent. Yes, Lisa.
Oh, well, I think it was Neville Hunter as well, and he was lying totally. He didn't go to the loo at all, and Phyllis couldn't corroborate this because she didn't see. He, in fact, went out and asked Penny in for a drink. So she came in for a drink. He poisoned her with the thingy. She was having his baby, and he would have been ruined both in his marriage and in his work, and he leapt into the cupboard with a soda siphon and 2 glasses, but one of them was the wrong glass.
Thank you, Professor. Rodney, who done it?
I think Neville Hunter did it, and instead of telling you why, because I can't go home because of the mumps, I'm going to say goodnight to Joe, Tom, and Billy, and Daisy.
I'll be all right. Thank you very much, Rodney. Yes. I'll say goodnight to them for me. I live just near your home. Right, good. Very interesting. Well, let's see who's right. Will the real whodunit stand, please? Aha! Well, there it is.
Mr. Pertwee, one last request.
Yes?
Is that possible?
Yes?
Please, sir, may I be excused?
No, not yet. Not until I've said goodnight. Well done. Congratulations, Patrick. It was a guess. Lisa, absolutely dead on the button again. My word, 2 weeks running. Well done, Jenny. You were right. Not quite as many clues. And Rodney, you got it right. I think you just must have been cheating.
The first time ever in my life.
But did you know why?
No.
Well, nevertheless, congratulations. You got it right. Bad luck, Patrick. Better luck next week. Right, here is the full version of how it was done. Neville Hunter's flashback was a lie. What he actually did was to invite Penny into his office for a drink, and while she wasn't looking, added strychnine to her whiskey glass. You can assume that because Sergeant Watson verified the rest of the whiskey was okay. Now, when he heard somebody coming, he hid in the cupboard, and that is when Ernie Hewitt came in and did the robbery, with his accomplice Frank Tylo outside. Now, this put Hunter in such a panic that when he dashed out to the loo to establish his alibi, he forgot about the glass. Now, the clue was, in his flashback, Penny's typewriter cover should have been on. In Phyllis's flashback, Penny was putting the cover on, and in Mason's flashback, it was completely on. The motive, of course, was poor Penny's unwanted pregnancy. Everything else, I'm afraid, was a red herring. Now, next week, we go to the circus, where the owner, Mr. Brandon, dies 4 times. Those circus folk just won't lie down. Meanwhile, it's good night from our panel and our cast. Oh, and Frank Tylo, if you happen to be watching, we know you've got £30,000, so don't try and spend it, Frank. We've got the serial numbers, and Inspector Regan is personally drawing an identikit picture of you for News at 10. So we'll see you on TV soon, Frank, won't we? Good night, all. Good night.